Okay, picture this. The elected president of a sovereign nation gets kidnapped from his own home in a secret military raid, all greenlit by another world power. I know, it sounds like something straight out of a Hollywood movie. But what if I told you this wasn't fiction? This is the story of Operation Absolute Resolve. Our story kicks off on a very specific date, just a couple years from now, January 3rd, 2026. On the surface, it's just another day on the calendar. But this day, well, it would go down in history as one of the boldest military moves in modern times. The time? Just 1 minute past 2 in the morning. We're talking about the dead of night, when everything is still. Under the cover of total darkness, a city, and more importantly its president, were completely vulnerable. And where did all this go down? Caracas, the capital city of Venezuela. While the city slept, an elite team of commandos was getting ready to make its move. The operation itself happened with just breathtaking speed and precision. First step, a cyber attack knocks out the city's power grid, total darkness. Then, airstrikes take out their radar and air defense. The city is now blind and deaf. With that opening, low-flying helicopters zip in, totally undetected. From there, Delta Force commandos hit the president's residence, and within minutes, they have President Nicolas Maduro in custody. Just like that, a perfect 5-step raid.
So what was the reaction from the man who gave the order? Well, thousands of miles away, then-President Donald Trump was watching the whole thing on a live feed. His reported comment afterward was, honestly, kind of chilling. He said, "I watched it literally like I was watching a TV show."
So, that's the what. And it's pretty shocking, right? But that brings us to the biggest question of all, the one at the heart of this entire story. Why? Why on earth would the United States take a step this extreme to abduct the leader of another country? Okay, so let's look at the official story. Publicly, the administration was very careful not to call this an invasion or an act of war. No, their justification was all about one thing: drugs. The official line was that this was simply a law enforcement action against a major narco-terrorist. And to back this up, they had a formal indictment all ready to go in the Southern District of New York. And the charges against President Maduro were heavy. We're talking narco-terrorism, conspiracy to import cocaine, weapons charges, the whole 9 yards.
But, this is where the official story starts to get a little shaky. According to the source material, the indictment says about 250 metric tons of cocaine were shipped from Venezuela each year. Now, to put that in perspective, a country like Guatemala saw about 1,400 metric tons pass through it in a single year. That's way, way more.
So you have to ask, right? If the main goal was really to stop drugs from getting into the United States, why would you focus on Venezuela? The source points out that most cocaine comes from places like Colombia and Mexico, and the deadliest drug of all, fentanyl, has basically no known connection to Venezuela at all. It really makes you wonder, was there another reason for all this?
And that brings us to the alternative explanation. The one our source argues is the real reason. The argument is simple. The true motivation wasn't drugs. It was something way more valuable, buried deep under Venezuelan ground. It was about oil.
Just let this number sink in for a second. 303 billion. That's with a B. That's how many barrels of proven crude oil reserves are sitting in Venezuela. It's an absolutely mind-boggling amount of wealth and energy. Now, to really wrap your head around just how massive that number is, you need to see it in context. Venezuela doesn't just have a lot of oil. It has the largest proven reserves on planet Earth. More than Saudi Arabia, more than the United States. It's the undisputed #1 oil powerhouse in the world. And this tension over their oil, it's not new. It's been brewing for a long time. American companies were down there for decades after oil was first discovered, but then things started to change. In '76, Venezuela created its own national oil company. Then, in 2001, President Hugo Chavez fully nationalized all of the oil reserves, essentially showing foreign companies the door. The U.S. fired back with sanctions, and the economic battle for Venezuela's resources was on. And if there was any doubt left about the real motive, the source highlights this quote from President Trump, reportedly made the day after the raid. He wasn't talking about drugs or fighting terrorism. He was talking about oil. He actually called Venezuela's nationalization a theft, framing their control of their own natural resources as something being taken away from America. So,
A global superpower invades a sovereign nation to grab its president, and it looks like it's really all about resources. An action like that doesn't just happen without consequences. It sent shockwaves around the world, creating a huge global fallout, both legally and internationally.
The Trump administration tried to frame the raid by calling it a simple law enforcement function. But that justification flies directly in the face of established international law. I mean, Article 2, Section 4 of the United Nations Charter is about as clear as it gets. You cannot use military force against the territory or political independence of another country, period.
And according to the source, this operation didn't just break international law. It also allegedly violated American law. The U.S. Constitution is very clear that Congress has to approve a declaration of war, and that never happened. So this one operation seems to have broken the fundamental rules of both the U.S. and the global community.
So what did the rest of the world think? Well, the reaction was immediate, and it was overwhelmingly negative. Countries from all over the political map, we're talking Brazil, Chile, China, Russia, they all condemned it. The UN Secretary General called it a flat-out violation of the UN Charter and warned that it set an incredibly dangerous precedent. A lot of people watching this unfold gave a name to this kind of thing: New Age colonialism. Think of it as a modern update on an old, ugly practice. A powerful country uses its military not to govern another country, but to just go in and seize control of its valuable stuff.
And it all really boils down to this philosophy, which the source material captures perfectly with this quote. It's the idea that international laws and rules, they're for the little guys. For the most powerful nations, they're optional. It's a world where might makes right.
And that leaves us with one last massive question to think about. If the new unwritten rule of the world is that having a bigger army gives you the right to take whatever you want, what does that mean for global stability? When the most powerful countries decide the rules don't apply to them anymore, what does that mean for everyone else?